Hello, how are you? Well, it's been quite the year, hasn't it? I'm sure you've all had a lot of pretty heavy experiences. So in that respect, I'm very glad that this is the challenge that I took on, because it has helped me through a tumultuous year, through many different things. And I have written down all the different things I have learned from meditating for a year. So I'm going to share that with you now. The first thing I learned, I should explain, the practice that I was doing was I was basically just listening to my thoughts. So I was just sitting in silence and listening to my thoughts, watching my thoughts. And through watching my thoughts, it made me aware that they weren't actually my thoughts, if that makes sense. So it's your ego, your inner child. And the majority of the time we are caught up in what that inner child ego is thinking and act upon it. Yet we can consciously watch it and observe it, and that's what I've been doing. So that's the first thing. The first thing is the awareness of the fact that it's not necessarily my thoughts. And those thoughts try to stop you from meditating, don't they? When you sit down to meditate, they actually try and stop you. You've got things to do, you've got to go do this, you've got to go do that. And that's what's in our head all the time, all the time. So by doing this practice, I was clearing my head of those thoughts. Meditation gives you more time. I know people say I haven't got time to meditate. It actually gives you more time. The reason being, those thoughts have you stuck in a space of trying to figure out what to do next, where if you meditate all the time, you have clarity and you don't worry about all those thoughts. You may not even have them as often. So it actually gives you more time to get things done. The ability to ignore thoughts and respond, not react. This happened a lot throughout the year. We get triggered all the time. People project onto us, and we get triggered by certain circumstances, from memories of events in our childhood, whatever the case may be. And by being aware of those conscious thoughts, I'm able to separate myself from that and be real in the situation that's in front of me, not get caught up in habits or past events in my life. Meditation is best in the morning, yes, because you have a clearer head throughout the day. Inspired ideas come. I had so many great ideas whilst I was meditating. I really did. Mostly creative. That's something I learned. You become more creative when you meditate. In fact, I started a practice which I learned at Sisterhood Rising this year of meditating before painting. And some beautiful creations come out of that, which is evidence of you being more creative. Meditation keeps you in the present because you aren't worrying about the past or the future. Again, those thoughts are worrying about the future, concerned about things that happened in the past or caught up in the past. By meditating, you are more in the now and able to deal with situations again. What else? I'm breathing deeper. And by breathing deeper, I have less anxiety. I have a pattern of not breathing deeply. I just breathe shallow because I tend to be anxious or whatever all the time. And now I'm not so much. It's really good. Meditation gives space to allowing healing and emotions, as ego isn't pushing feelings down. Yes, so during my meditations, and sometimes I had memories come up or emotions come up or feelings come up, and I would deal with them the same way that I was dealing with the thoughts. So I would just watch them, I would allow them. And by allowing thoughts, emotions, whatever it is, and witnessing it, it's been seen, and it goes away. Because basically your inner child just wants to be seen, right? And it's the same with the emotions. I was able to allow emotions to come up and just sit with them, and eventually they go away. Really, really effective. Where am I? Clearer thinking due to an empty head. I actually had moments, a number of them, where I had no thoughts. I was thinking, what do I do now? because I'm not allowing all those thoughts from my ego and my inner child to arise all the time. So there was actually times where I had no thoughts in my head, which is really weird, but great, right? You don't want that all the time. Realizations can be worked through by meditating on it, and it's something I can turn to. There's a number of times throughout this year where the realization didn't necessarily come up in the meditation, but I was able to go into a meditation to work through it. Again, the thoughts, the emotions, and everything else. So it can help you as that actual tool that I can turn to and use. It opens doors by giving space for it. Oh my gosh, so many doors open for me this year. I've had a bit of a ride, lots of highs and lots of lows, lots of doors that have opened. And because I'm not stressed so much and I'm more available emotionally, I guess, it's actually allowed things to be presented to me because I've had space for it. Hope that makes sense. Meditation is a space you can turn to like home. Well, it is home, really. It's connection to source, or whatever you want to call it. You get caught up in this rat race, productive, fast-paced world and can feel completely disconnected. And by meditating, you return home, you return to yourself. It's a really beautiful place to be at, and you can go there anytime. Anytime. It's always there. I'm breathing deeper and slower and more relaxed than in sleep. That's something I learned about meditation, is that whilst I'm meditating, my body's able to relax more than when I sleep even. Because when we sleep, our muscles are still a little in fight or flight, like they're still a little bit tense because we're not consciously aware of what's going on around us, and it needs to be able to defend. But when you're meditating, you're consciously aware, so your body can completely relax. And in that completely relaxed state, you breathe deeper, you breathe slower, and as a practice of doing this daily, I'm naturally, during the day, breathing deeper and slower. It's really good. The longer you meditate, the deeper you go. I had a few times this year where I meditated for 3 hours, where I meditated for 4 hours, and those were amazing meditations. It's hard to explain unless you meditate, really, the going deeper. You just are more in yourself and more separate from the external, I guess, is the best way to describe it. It's just, again, it feels like home. It's connection. And the deeper you go, the more you allow to come up also. Awareness improves. Again, back to the chatter in our heads. Because I don't have so much chatter in my head, I'm more aware of what's going on around me. I actually notice little things that I might have walked past before. I'm taking in birds chirping. I am just absorbing in everything around me in my environment, much more so than if I'm busy, rush, with thoughts in my head all the time. I'm considering before acting, slower response, weigh pros and cons. So I would normally just jump into things and make decisions or turn things away immediately. And now I'm very considered in my actions. I think about what the pros are, what the cons are. Does it benefit me? Does it benefit them? Who does it benefit? Does it benefit anyone? That sort of thing. And more self-care because of that. I'm putting myself as more of a priority than I used to. I used to always do things for everybody else. I still do things for everybody else, but it's considered. Understanding we all have that voice in our head. Well, you do, right? You do, everyone does. And so by understanding the impact it has on me, I'm more conscious of the impact it has on the person I'm with or the people around me. And I understand that they have their own shit that they're carrying. So it's making me more understanding and more tolerant of other people and their actions. I have a more calm and easier day. You consider all of this, that's a given, really. Blocked memories arise due to me giving space to it. Because I'm clearing my head all the time, I actually, if you've been watching my weekly videos, or mostly weekly videos, you'll discover that I had a blocked memory come up in May, I think it was, from an event that occurred when I was 4, which was really horrifying, but needed to be seen to be healed. And the next thing I think I've written here that is around that also is that I was able to work through that on my own because I had the meditation tools, because I knew to allow thoughts to come up and let them go, to allow emotions to come up and see them and let them go. And I was able to go through this whole process of working through the shock, the pain, the hurt, the rejection, all those things as they came up. I was able to just sit with them and let them go. It was really remarkable. Yeah, work through emotions alone. It's time out from the world that is good for you and always available to you. I did touch on that already. In tune with my higher self and hear intuitive thoughts more, which is part of what receiving good ideas is from, and having realizations. Clearing your thoughts, all the ego, inner child, all the stuff that's just fearful is blocking all the other stuff. So by releasing all those thoughts, you are in fact in tune with your higher self. Ability to recognize when I'm triggered and return to calm. So I'm still human, right? I'm still going to get triggered, even with all this understanding. I still get triggered by people, but I'm able to really quickly switch that off and calm again. When you practice meditation every day, it's easy to fall back into that state because you know it so well, because it's home. Less pain due to relaxed body. I did in fact injure myself quite badly this year. I fractured my fibula, I think it's called, the leg bone that attaches to your ankle. And while I was relaxing, and that's what you do when you're meditating, while I was relaxing, so deeply relaxed, the pain was less, to the point where it actually had me run some pain meditation workshops. And people were definitely feeling less pain at the end of it. Group meditation is more powerful, hence my workshops. But it's not too often I get to experience it myself. So in Kyle's calls, which is why I was doing these meditations in the first place, he actually takes us through meditations all together. And I always get so much deeper, get so much more out of it when it's a group meditation. And if we're all energy, which we are, before that energy is combined, you can imagine how much more powerful the results are from your meditation when combined with others' energy. Questions answered. So many questions answered. You can either ask a question before you meditate. The idea is just to ask it and then just go into the meditation, not focus on the question. I've had lots of answers. I've had in dream state, almost like visualizing playing out in front of me, or just simple words pop into my head. Also, even if I wasn't asking the question, something I've been wondering about, the answer will pop up. Really great way to resolve issues you might have or solve problems. The more you meditate, the more you receive. When you're meditating, I'm in a receptive state, and because I'm meditating daily, I'm generally in a receptive state. So I've had all sorts of things open up for me, opportunities, and it's just I can't say enough how amazing this year has been. It's just been incredible. Even if you don't clear your mind, you're still clearing your thoughts. I can sit here for an hour sometimes and it will be an hour of chatter, even 2 hours. Just chatter, and I think, oh my God, this isn't working. But that's judgment for a start. Why am I judging it? But also, I'm still feeling better throughout the day than if I hadn't meditated, right? I've still allowed those thoughts to come up. It's just there was more thoughts this time. You see what I mean? So it does. It just clears your mind. It teaches you to let go and to prioritize yourself. I mentioned prioritizing myself before, and when you're not so focused on getting things done, then you are able to just drop things that aren't that important. You're able to prioritize and realize that some things your head's saying, oh my God, you got to do this. You don't actually have to do it all at all. Again, it gives you more time, right? Meditation gives you time. Yes, meditation can feel addictive. There was a time where I was wanting to go and meditate just so I could feel better, and I wondered if it was addictive. But then I realized when I'm meditating, I'm connected. Addiction comes from disconnection. It's from being disconnected that we need to fill holes with other things, be it shopping, eating, working, drugs, alcohol. That's to fill some sort of a hole or a void in your life. When I'm meditating, I'm actually working through those things. I'm actually filling the holes permanently. So if it's an addiction, it's a good one, and it won't be detrimental to my health or my mental health. More productive. Again, it's based around not having all these things I thought I needed to do that I don't need to do. You learn about yourself, obviously, because I'm having memories come up, emotions come up. And I understand that strength comes from vulnerability now, because it's in my vulnerability of being open to working through my emotions, to having a look at my past that I hadn't recognized or seen before, that it's actually allowed me to heal, which has made me stronger, right? And by sharing my vulnerability with others, I'm giving them space to do the same. So it's not only making me stronger, it's helping me be strong for others. You can meditate with your hurt child or past loved ones. That was so cool when I did that. So Kyle suggested that we, in a meditation, that we bring in our hurt child. So for me, it was the 4-year-old, the memory that came up. And just visualize my 4-year-old sitting next to me whilst I was meditating, and just spending that time with them and seeing that they're actually okay. And it was really, really powerful. So much so that I ended up doing it with my dog, who I had to let go a couple of Christmases ago, and a friend who'd suicided and that sort of thing, and just meditating with them. It's just this beautiful place to go to. We feel like you're actually with them and you connect with them. And it helps you to let go of whatever attachment you have to that part of you, or that they're leaving, if there's abandonment or things like that. What else? You can feel into what you actually need by sitting with yourself and seeing your hurt parts and understanding what's a priority for you and what's not. You are now able to understand what you need more, and hopefully go get it without distractions. Karma around family events and not pulled into patterns. I've seen this a lot. Obviously over the year there's been a few family get-togethers, and I would ordinarily get pulled into all the stress and the triggers and everything else, and I've been able to just sit back and watch and go, holy cow, that's what I used to do. But it's actually beneficial to them also, because you're in a karma space and not being a part of it. So it adds that better energy into the moment. Understanding your path as it happens. As things are unfolding, I'm learning more about myself, as we just mentioned or discussed, but also anything coming in now that happens, I look at that as to how it affects my path. Why did I attract that? All those sorts of things. Seeing fears for what they are. Fear is just something that you've developed as a pattern in your subconscious. Something's happened to you, has created that fear. We're not born with fears. So by working through my emotions, working through the events in my life, all these things, I understand that fear is just an emotion and that I can work through it, which I do. You have more space to absorb and learn and recall memories. Of course, with all those thoughts out of your head, you can do heaps. Disconnect from your head and go to your heart. Again, the thoughts. Get out of there, into your heart, Now when I have a question, I ask my heart the question, not my head. Because that's the truth, that's your soul answer, not your ego. Much more working from my heart, which I was doing, but obviously there's a lot more now. Affect others with my karma kind of presence, as I mentioned with the family events. Consciously start seeing thoughts in my head. I'm actually now, there was a point where I was wondering if I was going a bit mad because I was hearing these voices in my head and realized that the practice I was doing in meditation, I was now doing in my consciousness. So I was becoming aware of the thoughts that were interfering, for want of a better term, with what I was doing. Calmness in emergencies. There's just calm. There's just so much calm. You hear instincts and warnings clearer. Again, with those, the ego, inner child, fear-based chatter out of my head, I'm receptive to the gut instincts, my intuition, all those sorts of things. Learn to surrender to the universe. I'm less of a control freak now. More positivity, personal growth, and basically a much happier, healthy Dee. So thank you for joining me and watching this video. I will be continuing this practice, but not these videos. Next year I'll look at something else. But hopefully you're all meditating now, and I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I'll see you in 2020. Bye.